All right. So yesterday we spoke about standard deviation, we spoke about variance, we spoke about range, and we found out the formula for standard deviation and variance as well, right? And as of now, what we spoke about is just like I have a set of data and I want to find the variance from the data and I want to find the standard deviation from the data, right? And if you guys remember, the formula which we spoke about is xi minus mu whole square by n is my variance. And where this xi is the individual record, and mu is my mean of the data, and this n is my number of records, right? And if I want to find the standard deviation, so again, the variance is denoted by sigma, right? And when I do the square root of sigma, that is my standard deviation, right? That is what we saw in the last class. So sigma square is my variance, and when I do the square root of that, that is sigma is my standard deviation. So square root of this value is my standard deviation. Now that entire thing which we spoke about is actually for a population point of view, where I am considering the entire population. For example, let's say I want to know how many people are watching TV in India, right? Watching TV in India. How many hours basically, right? Now, what is the best way? I have like it's a huge population, right? It's a huge population in India, and I want to find how many people are watching how many hours of TV per day, and I cannot go to each and every individual and ask for it. I cannot go and do that. It's like very costlier affair for me. I have to go to individual person. I want to ask, and it's very costly affair. Same way, let's say if you guys know, we during the election we have the exit polls, right? We get the exit polls that okay, BJP gonna win, or uh, Congress gonna win, or AAP gonna win, or any other party gonna win, right? How they understand? Because they do a survey. They do a survey and basically they try to understand what's the behavior or what's the sentiments. Now I cannot go to entire India population and ask, okay, which government gonna win the election, and that's not possible. Literally not possible for me to do that. It's a huge cost. It's a time-consuming process. I need a quick output. So what I will do, I will take the samples from the data. I will take the samples. So yesterday, what we talked about, the standard deviation and the variance, all those things, we spoke about the population. I am assuming that I have the entire population with me. So the variance we calculated, xi minus mu whole square by n, is what we discussed about the population. When I want to find the standard deviation, I have to take the square root of xi minus mu whole square by n. That is my population standard deviation, right? But it is literally not possible for me to go to individual person and ask for the details. It's not possible for me. So that, then what happens? Then what to do? Then we have to take the samples. We have to take the sample from the data. This is my data set. Here I'll start taking the samples from the data. I'll start taking the samples. And from this, I will try to identify what's the behavior. So as I am changing my survey from the total population to the sample, my formula changes as well. If I talk about the standard deviation, or if I talk about the variance, first of all, the formula for a variance. So let me first give you the idea about, so this is my population and I have this sample, right? This is my population, the entire light blue, and I'm taking one sample from that population. Assume that this is my entire population. Assume that this is my entire population. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There are 14 people in my population. So when I want to find the population variance, population standard deviation, the formula which I will use is xi minus mu whole square by n, where mu is nothing but the average of this data. For example, let's say I want to find the age. So these are the people with different ages. This is my mean age of the population. So xi minus mu whole square by n is nothing but, let's assume that maybe I can say 30 is my average. So I'll take xi minus 30 whole square. That is again summation, right? Individual record. So this will be summation, where I is equal to 1 to n, where n is nothing but 14 by 14. And when I take the square root of this, that comes out to be my standard deviation. And this whole story which we are talking about is for the population. I'm assuming that I am taking individuals, all the individuals from the population, and then I'm calculating it. But as I mentioned, in real-time scenario, it's very difficult for me to go ahead and find the details of individuals of entire population. It's a time-consuming and cost will be there, costlier process for me. So in that case, we take a sample. The population variance is denoted by sigma or sigma square. And population standard deviation is denoted by sigma. It's a Greek letter. Population mean is denoted by mu. And this is actually known as parameter, population parameter. If someone says that I am finding the population mean, population standard deviation, population variance, then it is known as parameters, population parameters. When I am talking about the sample, then sample is not a parameter. The mean of sample is x bar. The standard deviation is S, or sometimes you can see S bar also. And that is nothing but sample statistic is what we generally denote. So X bar is my mean, which is a sample mean, and S bar is a sample standard deviation. And obviously there is a change in the formula as well. The variance formula is xi minus mu whole square by n, where sigma I equal to 1 to n. That is my variance. My standard deviation is square root of xi minus mu whole square by n. That is my standard deviation. But when I come to sample, then the sample variance comes out to be or I can say n minus 1, capital N minus 1. That is my variance. I will divide my denominator or I will divide my numerator with n minus 1. So if suppose I have 14 records here, I will divide this entire calculation by 13. Same way my standard deviation changes also. That is the formula for sample standard deviation. So here is my standard deviation, sample and population. So sample standard deviation is coming as square root of sigma x minus x bar whole square by n minus 1. And you can see the variance also, s square sigma square, right? So that is my formula. We can denote this with like various mathematical denotation. You can have various form as well, but this is the best or the most popular form of a formula. X minus x bar, this is the mean of a sample whole square by n minus 1. You can see here the formula is a bit different, but again, it's a different way of denoting the formula. Right? So that is important. Now question arises why we are subtracting with 1, the denominator. What is the reason for that? For example, let's say I take a survey, I take a sample. Here my original population mean is here. This is my original population mean. Now suppose I take a survey and I took 3 records as my sample. So let's say this is my one population, one sample record. This is my one sample record, and maybe this is my one sample record. So I can say that yes, my mean is approximately here. That is perfectly fine. There is no change in the mean. Let's assume that I have taken this data, I have taken this data, I have taken this data. I can say that yes, my mean is approximately on the same range. But what if I take this, this, and this? These are my 3 records from the sample. Now you can see that there is a way big difference between my original mean and my sample mean. My sample mean is x bar, and x bar is way less than the original mean. It's very less. And because of this, when I do xi minus x bar whole square by n, this entire value is less. Overall, this value gonna be very, very less. We are making it by dividing n, we are making it more smaller. So this I can say it is unbiased. This is a biased. This is a biased standard deviation, or you can say variance, because I have a different sample altogether. I am not taking from the majority of the population. We are taking either very lower side or either very higher side. And because of this, my standard deviation is drastically changing. So what I am trying to do is, suppose this x bar is very different from my original data, then try to make it, because we are doing square, so try to make this denominator bit lesser so that this impact on my overall value will not be much. Now you must be saying that why we are not going with n minus 2, then why we are going with n minus 1. because n minus 2 will increase this particular value much faster. I'll show you the example so that it will be more clearer. So if you see this, I have created one Excel which consists of this population. Now I am assuming that we have around 1200 people in my data set. This is my population. I already found out my population variance. We already know the formula for the variance. The formula for the variance is xi minus mu whole square by n. I took the mean of it. I took the individual record minus the mean of it divided by total number of records, that is 1200. I got this 139.63 as my population variance. That this is my parameter, population parameter. That is nothing but my variance. That is nothing but a sigma square. Now after that I took the sample. I took various samples. You see, I took around 25 samples. Here I took various different samples and you can see that my population variance, sample variance basically, my sample statistic, sample variance here is less. Here it is more. But my original population is 139. So you can say that, okay, this is good. It is more near to 139, which is my. So if you see the formula here, I took this variance of population. So basically here in this sample, try to understand this. This sample I considered as a population. When I am considering this as a population, the formula which you are applying is what? Xi minus mu whole square by n, where xi is this individual value, mu is the average of these values, and n is the number of records, only this. I'm considering this part as a population, but actually it is a sample. But I'm just calculating. I'm just trying to understand that what is the variance I'm getting with the formula which we are using for the population. I'm getting this variance, which is much nearer to 139 as compared to the sample variance. Now you will say that my population variance is giving me the almost correct output than sample, but you see that in some of the scenarios it is not going to happen. Suppose this is my biased sample, because here I took all the values which are very less. My standard deviation or my variance is coming as 77. Now here it is 139, but my sample variance is coming as 82, which is near to 139. So basically this part is getting calculated xi minus mu whole square by n, where mu is the average of this sample and n is the count of this data only. I am considering this as a population. When I go to sample variance, I am considering this entire data as a sample. I am not considering this data as a population. So the formula I am using is xi minus x bar whole square by n minus 1. So here all the values I am considering as a population, and I am getting this variance. When I am considering all this as a sample, I am getting this variance. I took this for all the samples, and now you can see that the average which I am getting, for the 25 samples from the original population which I had of 1200 records, the average variance I am getting when I am considering this individual sample as a population, I am getting the variance as 127.308. However, when I'm considering individual values as a sample, then the variance I am getting is 135.7. Now, which one is nearer? The original population variance is 139 point something. You can clearly see that this is not giving me the correct output. It is a biased output, but this is much nearer to my population standard or population variance or population standard deviation. So you can see the proof here that when I am making the formula xi minus x bar whole square by n minus 1, my overall sample population, sorry, sample variance is coming as more near to the population variance, which is giving me more correct idea about the population. That is why statisticians decided this formula rather than going with normal n or going with n minus 2, because if I go with n minus 2, this value will increase drastically. This may go to 150 or something. So which is the correct one? 135 is more nearer to 139. That's why people are using the formula for the sample as xi minus x bar whole square by n minus 1 rather than going with xi minus mu whole square by n or xi minus x bar whole square by n minus 2. We may not use this because it will be biased, giving me the less value. I cannot use this because this will be biased as well because it will give me high value. The correct formula we can use for the sample is n minus 1 as my denominator. So my sample is very, very important. If I am taking a biased sample, no matter which formula are you using, xi minus mu whole square by n or xi minus x bar whole square by n minus 1, it will give me wrong output only because your sample is biased. So that's why we have to take the proper sample. For example, as I mentioned, if you are going to the BJP office and you ask that which party will win, you are going to BJP office and you are asking. So obviously they will gonna give you BJP only. They will tell you BJP only. Right? They will not tell you Congress or AAP. So I have to have the proper sample with me. That is what the statistics is all about, right? For example, let's say I want to know how many people are watching TV in India. Now Kushal thinks that okay, let's go to a village where no electricity is there. Now let me have the sample. How many of you guys are watching TV? Is that the correct sample? Or will I go to metros and I will ask someone where electricity is 24/7? Are you understanding it? So the sample should be the correct sample. If the sample is wrong, then this entire formula which we are discussing is of no use. And statistician did a lot of analysis, a lot of research, and they found out that when we are going with n minus 1 as a denominator, I'll get a majority of the time I'm getting the standard deviation or variance near to the population. So let's finalize that formula. Okay. Now, box plot. Right. So we had a discussion a lot about this box plot, but again, this is important. That's why I'm coming up with again and again. So box plot is basically helping us to find the outliers and the distribution of the data. So we already know about it. So I'll just quickly talk about this. So here, this box plot is normally helping me to find what are my outliers. So it's a industry standard formula. Statistician decided that formula. So any value which is less than Q1 minus 1.5 into IQR is my outlier. Any value which is greater than Q3 plus 1.5 into IQR is my outlier. Where Q1, Q3, so Q1 is nothing but this part, the 25th percentile of my data. This is my median, which is also known as quartile 2, Q2. And this is my 75th percentile of the data, also known as quartile 3 or Q3. IQR is nothing but interquartile range, which is Q3 minus Q1. That is 75th percentile minus 25th percentile of my data set. So now if I go ahead and find the calculation for maybe this sample data. So here is my data set. Here I have ages varying from 4, 23, 24, 24, 26, 26 and 60. Let me find the median. The data is already sorted, ascending order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 records are there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my fourth record, which is the middle value, is nothing but my median, also known as Q2. Then I will take this upper three part value and lower three part value to find the Q3 and Q1. So the middle value of upper three part is 23, which is nothing but my Q1, and this below middle value is my Q3. Below middle is the median, is my Q3. We have Q3 minus Q1, that is nothing but 26 minus 23 comes out to be 3. That is nothing but my IQR, interquartile range. You can see that the calculation already coming in. This is my median, this is my quartile 1, this is my quartile 3, and this is my interquartile range. Then we already know the formula for the outliers, Q1 minus 1.5 IQR and Q3 plus 1.5 IQR. Any value less than 18.5 is an outlier. Any value greater than 30.5 is an outlier. So 4 and 60 is my outlier. So that is the first thing which I can use using this box and whiskers plot, also known as box plot. The second thing is it is helping me to find the distribution of the data. For example, median. So my median is at the center. That means my data is normally distributed. Let's say we are giving the CAT exam, all getting less than 40 marks. Everyone is around 30. So obviously my median will be around 30. The middle value will be around 30. Then if I create a box plot, my median will be at the lower side, that is 30. So if I try to create a bell curve, it comes out to be something like this, where my median is somewhere at the left side and the outliers is at the right side. That's why this is known as right skewed chart. For example, let's say we are giving the CAT exam again, all got 90 marks, only I am getting 30 marks. So now here is the 90, which is the median, because majority of the values are around 90. So now how the plot will look like? The plot will look like this, where here is the outliers in the left side. That's why it is known as left skewed chart. So this position of the median is important for me to understand. If position of the median is at the lower side, then majority of the values are at the lower side. If the position of the median is at the higher side, then the majority of the values are at the higher side. If at the center, then that means my data is normally distributed. Now there is one more concept of mid-range. Here is my data set. Find the range and the mid-range of the following set of numbers. Here are the numbers we have. We already know the range, right? Range is nothing but the max value minus min value. That is my range. And my mid-range is nothing but max value plus min value divided by 2. That is my mid-range. So let me sort the data. So 66 comes out to be the lowest, I guess. 2 times 66. Then I think 74. Then 78. Then we have 81. Then 84. Then we have 88. 83 is also there. So 83, 84, 88, and 95. So the maximum value is 95, the minimum value is 66, and based on that, I have to do the calculation. So 66, this is my 95 minus 66 comes out to be how much? 29. So my range comes out to be 29. 95 plus 66 by 2. So 95, 66, 1, then 10, 16, 161 by 2. That is 80.5. So my mid range is nothing but 80.5, which is somewhere here. All right. So that is the concept of range and mid range. Now there is one more concept which we have is MAD, mean absolute deviation. Here is my data set. Now let me find the mean absolute deviation. Now how this mean absolute deviation works, right? How this calculation works. What is the calculation of finding the MAD? I want to find the mean absolute deviation. You see that both data there is a difference, but if you find the calculation of the mean, if you find the mean of the data set, let me find the mean. So 2 plus 2 plus 4 plus 4 by 4, that is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. My mean comes out to be 3. If I go here, 1 plus 1 plus 6 plus 4, again that is comes out to be 12 by 4, that is also comes out to be 3. So here also the mean is 3, here also the mean is 3, but obviously there is a difference in the data, right? It's not the same data. So I want to find the deviation from the mean absolute deviation. How much this value is deviating from the mean? How much this value is deviating from the mean? How much this value is deviating from the mean? And how much this value is deviating from the mean? And same way here also. How much these values are deviating from the mean? This and this value. You can see that this value is more deviated from the mean. So let's find the mean absolute deviation. So I'll take the first record, 2 minus 3. 3 is my mean. And I'll take the absolute value, mean absolute deviation, plus 2 minus 3 plus 4 minus 3 plus 4 minus 3 divided by total number of records, that is 4. Mean absolute deviation, I have to find the mean also, so divide by 4. 2 minus 1 is 2 minus 3 is 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 by 4. That comes out to be 1. So my mean absolute deviation for this data set is 1. If I take this data set, 1 minus 3, 1 minus 3, 6 minus 3, 4 minus 3 by 4. 1 minus 3 is 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1 by 4. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 by 4 is 2. So my mean absolute deviation for this data set is coming out to be 2. And which makes sense, right? Because here my data is well spread. It's varying from 1 to 6. However, it is varying from 2 to 4. The spread is less here. That's why the mean absolute deviation is less here. Here the spread is more. So mean absolute deviation is more. In this data set, you find not only MAD, but find the mean, median, variance, range, mid-range, standard deviation, and MAD. Give me the answer. So here is my data set. Now, first of all, I want to find the mean of my data set. Now, what is the mean? Average. So I have 1 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6. 1 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 by 4. So 6 plus 4 is 10 plus 5 is 15 plus 1 is 16 by 4. Comes out to be 4 is my mean. Then I want to find the median, middle two number 1, 4, 5, 6, middle two number. Take the average. 4.5 is my median. Okay. 4.5. We have to sort the data. Then the next what we have to find out is variance. So let me calculate. So let's put mean here equal to 4, median equal to 4.5. Now let's go and find variance. So xi minus mu, right? I am considering this as a population. I am considering this as a population. I am not considering this as a sample. So the formula will be xi minus mu whole square by n. So xi minus mu is 4. Then second value is 4 minus 4. Then third value is 6 minus 4. And fourth value is 5 minus 4. 1 minus 4 is 3, negative 0, 2, 1. I'll take the square of this. That is 9 plus 0 plus 4 plus 1. So 9, 10, 14. By total number of records, 4. 14 by 4 comes out to be what? 3.5. So my variance is 3.5 when we are considering this as a population. When we are considering this as a sample, then I will divide it by 3, not 4, n minus 1. But let's assume that we are considering this as a population. I want to find the standard deviation, which is square root of variance. That is square root of 3.5. That is comes out to be around 1.87. That is my standard deviation. Then we have to find the range. Max minus min. 6 minus 1, 5. Mid range. Max plus min by 2. 6 plus 1 by 2. 3.5. Then I want to find the mad. So 1 minus average is 4. Mode of that plus 4 minus 4 mode of that plus 5 minus 4 mode of that plus 6 minus 4 mode of that divided by 4. So 1 minus 4 is 3. Mode is 3 positive plus 0 plus 1 plus 2. 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 by 4 that is 1.5. So now all numbers we have, my mean 4, median 4.5, variance 3.5, standard deviation 1.87, then range 5, then we have mid range, that is 3.5, then we have mad, that is 1.5. The standard deviation and variance, I am considering this data as a population. I am not considering this data as a sample. If I am considering this data as a sample, then my formula will be xi minus x bar whole square by n minus 1. Then it will be 14 by 3. Whatever you are getting, that is the output. That is my variance. And when we are doing the square root of that, then it will be standard deviation of a sample.